Picture an elderly woman in a quiet park just after sunrise. She isn't lifting weights, she isn't wearing running shoes or tracking her heart rate on a watch. She's simply moving, slow, deliberate, almost like she's having a conversation with her own body. No gym membership, no trainer, no sweat dripping down her face. And yet, at 80-something, she moves with more ease than most people half her age. If you're over 40, you know the frustration, the stiffness that wasn't there a decade ago, the knees that complain on the stairs, the quiet fear that staying active now means either pushing through pain at the gym or giving up and accepting decline as inevitable. Neither option feels good, and honestly, neither one is necessary. Here's the myth bust. You'd think staying strong in old age requires more effort, heavier weights, longer workouts, more discipline than you had at 25. But watch how Japanese elders actually move through their days, and you'll notice something surprising. They're not working out, they're not gritting their teeth through reps, they're doing something gentler, something that looks almost like nothing at all, and it's keeping their bodies capable well into their 80s and 90s. Researchers studying aging and mobility have found that the body doesn't decline from age itself nearly as much as it declines from stillness, long stretches of sitting, of protecting joints instead of using them, of treating movement as something reserved for exercise time rather than something woven through the whole day. The body, it turns out, doesn't need intensity. It needs consistency in small, repeated doses, done the right way. So, today I want to walk you through 10 simple movements Japanese elders build into their everyday lives. No equipment, no gym, no pain, and by the end you'll understand exactly why their bodies are still asking so much of them decades after most people have stopped asking anything of theirs at all.
The first movement is Rajio taisou, radio calisthenics. It's a short sequence of gentle stretches and rotations originally broadcast over the radio decades ago, and it's still done today in parks, schoolyards, and community centers across Japan, often by elders in loose groups just after sunrise. It takes about 3 minutes, no equipment, no impact, just slow, full-range movement through the shoulders, spine, hips, and ankles. In the West, we tend to treat stretching as an afterthought, something you do for 30 seconds before a real workout, if you remember to do it at all. In Japan, this kind of full-body movement is treated as the workout, done daily, treated as a non-negotiable as brushing your teeth. Physiologically, joints depend on regular, gentle range of motion to keep producing the fluid that lubricates them. Miss it for years at a time, and stiffness isn't age catching up with you, it's simply disuse. The second movement is Shizentai, natural posture. It's less something you do and more something you return to again and again throughout the day, standing with your weight evenly grounded, shoulders relaxed, spine long but not rigid. Elders in Japan are often taught this posture the way children are taught to hold a pencil, early and then reinforced quietly for the rest of their lives. In the West, posture is usually only discussed after something already hurts, a bad back, tight hips, aching knees. In Japan, it's treated as prevention, not correction. And there's a simple mechanical reason it matters so much. Poor posture forces smaller muscles to compensate for a job the skeleton was built to do on its own. And over years, that quiet overwork is exactly what turns into the stiffness and pain we assume is just getting older. The third movement is Sanpo, the walk without a destination. Not a power walk, not a fitness goal, just an unhurried stroll through a neighborhood or a garden, often the same route, walked almost like a small daily ceremony. What makes it different from how we usually think of walking for exercise is the pace, slow enough to notice things, fast enough to move the joints and the blood. In the West, walking is often something we do quickly, phone in hand, treated as transportation rather than movement in its own right. In Japan, the unhurried pace is the entire point. It lets the body move without triggering the same stress response a harder workout would, which matters more than people realize, since elevated stress hormones can actually work against joint and muscle recovery over time. The fourth movement is teirei, hand care, specifically the daily habit of working the hands and fingers through simple motions like folding cloth, kneading dough, arranging small objects, or practicing calligraphy. It sounds almost too small to matter, but the hands are packed with nerve endings connected directly to the brain, and elders who keep this fine motor engagement alive tend to keep sharper coordination and grip strength well into old age. In the West, once we stop needing our hands for physical work, we rarely ask much of them beyond typing or scrolling. In Japan, small handcrafts are treated as lifelong practice, not hobbies to retire from, and that quiet, repeated dexterity work keeps a connection between mind and body that's easy to lose without noticing. The fifth movement is Seiza, the practice of sitting on the floor and rising from it, without using your hands or furniture to push off. It's built into daily life simply because floor seating is common in Japanese homes, so elders end up practicing this movement multiple times a day without ever calling it exercise. And yet, researchers studying functional aging have found that the ability to get up off the floor unassisted is one of the strongest predictors of long-term mobility and independence there is. In the West, once getting up from the floor becomes uncomfortable, most people simply stop doing it, swapping floor seating for chairs and slowly losing a movement pattern the body actually needs to maintain. In Japan, that movement never disappears from daily life in the first place, so the strength required to do it never has the chance to fade either. The sixth movement is the hardest one to explain because it isn't really physical at all. It's called tsukau, roughly using your attention, the habit of moving through ordinary tasks slowly and deliberately, instead on autopilot. Washing dishes, sweeping a floor, watering plants, done with full attention rather than rushed through while thinking about something else. In the West, we tend to see these tasks as chores to get through as fast as possible. In Japan, they're treated as small, repeated opportunities to stay present in the body, and that attentiveness matters more than it seems, because moving mindlessly is exactly how small aches and imbalances go unnoticed until they become bigger problems. Elders who move with attention tend to catch stiffness and strain early, long before it becomes something a doctor needs to fix. The seventh movement is Kansetsu ugoki, joint circles, small deliberate rotations of the wrists, ankles, neck and shoulders done first thing in the morning before the body has fully committed to the day. It takes less than 2 minutes, and elders who do it treat it almost like waking the body up gently, joint by joint, rather than jumping straight into motion. In the West, we tend to skip straight from lying down to standing up, asking stiff joints to perform without warning. In Japan, this quiet warm-up habit means the body is never asked to move fast before it's had the chance to move slow first. And that small sequencing difference is often the reason elders avoid the sharp twinges the rest of us chalk up to just getting older. The eighth movement is Fukushiki kokyuu, deep belly breathing, long, slow breaths that expand the stomach rather than the chest, often practiced for just a few minutes while sitting quietly. It sounds like it belongs in a meditation class rather than a fitness routine, but this kind of breathing directly engages the diaphragm, one of the body's largest and underused muscles. In the West, breathing rarely gets a second thought unless something's already wrong. Anxiety, tension, shallow chest breathing under stress. In Japan, deep breathing is treated as daily maintenance for the nervous system, and physiologically, it does something remarkable. It shifts the body out of a low-grade stress state and into one where muscles can actually repair and joints can properly recover. The ninth movement is Tawashi migaki, the daily habit of scrubbing, wiping, and using the hands and forearms in ordinary household tasks done by hand rather than by machine wherever possible. Washing a floor on hands and knees, wringing out cloth, scrubbing a pot, small tasks that quietly ask the shoulders, wrists, and core to do real work. In the West, convenience has slowly removed most of this incidental strength training from daily life, one appliance at a time. In Japan, especially among elders who grew up without those shortcuts, these tasks were never phased out, and the result is a kind of functional strength that was never built in a gym, only preserved through never stopping. And the 10th movement, saved for last because it's the one people resist the most, is called motsu, literally holding a pause, the practice of stopping completely several times a day to simply sit still and do nothing at all. Not scrolling, not resting in front of a screen, just sitting, breathing, existing without a task attached to it. It seems like the opposite of exercise, but researchers studying recovery have found that muscles and joints don't actually repair themselves during activity. They repair during rest, and a body that never fully stops never gives itself the chance to finish that repair work at all. In the West, rest often means switching from one form of stimulation to another. In Japan, rest is treated as its own discipline, practiced on purpose, the same way movement is.
So there it is, 10 small movements, none of them ever called exercise, all of them quietly keeping a body capable for decades. Rajio taisou wakes the joints gently instead of demanding they perform on command. Shizentai keeps the skeleton doing the work it was built for, instead of leaving it to overworked muscles. Sanpo moves the body without stressing it. Teire keeps the hands sharp and connected to the mind. Seiza preserves the strength to rise from the floor unassisted, one of the quiet markers of real independence. Ki or tsukau turns ordinary chores into a chance to notice the body before small problems become big ones. Kansetsu ugoki warms every joint before it's asked to move fast. Fukushiki kokyuu calms the nervous system enough to let real repair happen. Tawashi migaki preserves functional strength through nothing more than never stopping ordinary work. And motsu, the pause, gives the body the stillness it actually needs to heal from everything else on this list. None of this replaces medical care, and if something already hurts, that's worth taking seriously rather than working around. This isn't about undoing every year that's already passed, and it's not a promise that 10 small habits erase decades of stiffness overnight. But if you've been feeling like your body is simply getting older, no matter what you try, it might not be age at all. It might just be stillness, quietly doing what stillness always does when it's given too much room. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for anything else, try just one. Rise from a low seat without using your hands. Roll your shoulders slowly, one at a time. Take a walk with nowhere in particular to be. That's enough to start. Because staying young was never really about pushing harder. It was about never fully stopping, moving gently, resting fully, and letting the body do every single day exactly what it was built to do. If this gave you something worth trying, there's more like it here, so don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.